Boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Nature at Home.
You heard him. Is there anything more terrifying than coming face to face with a snake? There's research out there showing that we evolved to be afraid of snakes and spiders. That deep down, we're all terrified of them.
Ah, but look at how cute he is!
I did the tongue thing! Classic snake move. Okay, it should come as no surprise that I love snakes. And here in Michigan, we have about 17 different species of snakes that live in our backyards, though some of them are a lot less common than others. Here in southeast Michigan, you're probably likely to see Eastern Garter Snakes, like the one pictured here. If you're having a difficult time to find him, it's because he's really well camouflaged. He can blend in with his surroundings in order to avoid being seen. Have you spotted him yet? There he is, up in those branches. This little dude was hiding up in those branches probably to get a little sunlight from the sky. Due to being a cold-blooded animal, his only source of heat comes from the sun or the ground that the sun warms up. Let me put you to the test one more time. Can you find this camouflage snake? He's right in the center of the frame in the water, because these snakes are able to wiggle their bodies in order to push through the water. They can swim. I can't even wrap my mind around how they move on land. All throughout winter, these snakes are underground in their dens, hibernating. But at the start of spring, they emerge and form these things called mating balls, and we'll talk about what that means in another video. Their primary diet are amphibians, fishes, and earthworms, so they're pretty common in this area around marshy spots. And even though most snakes hatch out of eggs, Eastern Garter Snakes give birth to live baby snakes. You may have heard that snakes unhinge their jaws to eat, but that's not true. They just happen to have really wide mouths. This right here is the only venomous snake in Michigan, and it's called the Eastern Massasaga Rattlesnake. And yeah, if you didn't know, we have rattlesnakes in this area. But I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. They're very shy snakes and they like to keep to themselves, though they are venomous. You can recognize the pattern on their skin as brown blotches on a gray background, but sometimes they can appear almost black. And I'm happy they can only grow 30 inches. I mean, can you imagine if they grew like a green anaconda? Those guys can grow to be almost 30 feet long. Check out this green anaconda skin. It just keeps going, and going, and going. Dinosaur Hill's in-house snake is a ball python, an African constricting snake that lives in burrows underground. At the front of her face, you can see her pit organs. These allow her to detect heat in the air. You can also see her sticking out her tongue. She's licking chemicals from the air and pressing it on the roof of her mouth, where she has a Jacobson's organ that translate them kind of like how our nose works. All of the snakes in our part of the world do not want to attack you. If you see them when you're out walking on the trails, just leave them alone. You can take pictures, videos, but they're not going to attack you unless you start bothering them. They're an absolute joy to find out on the trails and a perfect example of nature at home.